Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking 23andMe, ticker symbol ME. As a disclaimer, this is not investment advice. This is just a research video that I put together meant to be educational as well as entertaining. We're going to take a look at a few different news clippings and articles surrounding the company as of recently, and then we're going to jump into the charts. Thank you again for your time. Please continue to like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell. It really does help out the channel. I greatly appreciate it. It allows me to keep making these videos. Please enjoy.
While our journeys in life are all slightly different, my DNA journey started here with 23andMe, and it was all so simple. I learned where in the world my DNA is from, like down to a specific ethno-linguistic group in Africa. I opted into the DNA relatives feature and found a cousin I never met. And my hatred of cilantro finally started to make sense to me and my wife.
And what also made sense to me was how my ethnicity connected to my health. I found out my DNA actually influences my chances of developing certain conditions. Turns out, I have an increased chance of developing type 2 diabetes. Now I'm more focused on taking steps to avoid developing it. And I even told my sister.
Not to be competitive, but my DNA journey is all about crushing it when it comes to my health. I added the 23andMe Plus membership so I can get new insights and reports throughout the year and stay on top of it. And the pharmacogenetics reports, which are all based on my DNA, gave me personalized insights that I was able to take back to my doctor to review my medication plan. How cool is that?
My DNA.
My health.
My journey.
Powered by me.
All right, so let's take a quick look at the 23andMe Wikipedia page. Now I'm not going to go through the entire page because we already know what this company does. It's a genetics personal test type of company. You give them some saliva in a sample, and you get back some reports and some data and some analysis about who you are. And long story short, this company has come quite a bit of a ways. I'm pretty impressed by it. Otherwise, I would not be researching it. It's come to light as of recently for other reasons, but we'll talk about that when we look at the charts. But I really do like the innovation of this company, and I do like the story and the work ethic of so far what I've seen from the founder, Anne Wojcinski. I think I'm saying her name correctly. Wojcinski. I hope I'm not mispronouncing your name. I probably am, and I apologize. However, so, without, again, going through the entire page and history of this company, since 2008, the FDA and this company, they've not been battling, but just been going back and forth. And then maybe they would say battle, but I would just going from what I'm seeing is the FDA is, maybe they suspended some of their testing. They asked them to, you can read it yourself, go into it. I'm going to go into it to depth. But long story short, the company's had problems when it comes to perhaps their claims, and that's where the regulations come into, perhaps where the claims of what your results are implicating, and they're not supposed to be implying any sort of discriminatory. I don't want to go through the jargon, the bureaucratic jargon of this, but anyways, you can understand that it's sensitive when you're giving back diagnostic tests. And so, their products that they have, this company, if you can, there's different options. You don't just, you buy one thing and you get it all. You pay up for getting their different accesses of what they offer. So they have Lemonade Health. They did a partnership with GSK, and we're going to hear from the CEO about some of their acquisitions and how they came to light was pretty cool. They came to light in a SPAC deal from Richard Branson, the CEO of Virgin, the crazy billionaire guy. He helped this company come to light, and I don't mean any disrespect calling him crazy, but he's like an eccentric, good-spirited type person, I would say. Anyways, so we're going to look at a few different more interviews from the CEO, just because it allows me to wrap my head around the company and to see the vision versus just blindly going into a company that I like without really even hearing from the CEO or people who are at the top making decisions about it. So again, feel free to check out, I'll leave everything in the description below, their additional services and their price and cost structure, and their misses on the bottom and the top lines of all of their revenue, and their investment page is pretty cool on their website. And again, I'll have everything linked so we can all check it out. But let's continue on with the video.
And welcome. I want to start off with the impact of this economy on your business. Help me understand, as consumers potentially have less to spend on discretionary things, what's the impact there? And then you did also call out inflation's impact on some of the company's costs.
For sure. I think a couple things. There's no doubt, consumers are tightening their wallet, that they are definitely being conservative about, how they want to, think about spending. At the same time, one thing that we did see during COVID, and I do think that trend continues, is that people are very, even more mindful of their health. And you definitely start to see that more and more as people are thinking about how they can be proactive about managing their health, how they can stay healthy longer. So one of the key things that genetics does for an individual is it helps you understand your risks and really helps you have be healthier longer and understand, if you do have a condition, how can you better optimize that? So we definitely do see increases in costs. You see that with labor costs. We see that we have not seen a huge amount through suppliers, but we definitely see that with labor.
My sense, and correct me where I'm wrong here, is that there is a certain population of people that are into the quantified self, right? The people who are wearing their Apple Watches and checking this and that metric every day, and perhaps who proactively signed up to 23andMe and are participating in those sorts of studies. But to reach the mass market, do you need more partnerships with healthcare providers, with doctors who are walking people through the genetic reports and the implications and helping them to understand it? And how much of that is part of your strategy?
I think that the trends, and again, if you look at the data, more and more there is a consumer element of healthcare. And people are really, it's more about a partnership between things that you have to do on your own and things that you get from your physician. So more and more people are stepping up, and I would disagree strongly, like that 23andMe is just on the quantified self individuals. This is absolutely a product that will, that does appeal to the masses and will appeal more and more to the masses as genetics becomes a core part of healthcare. So one of the key things we did last quarter is we hired 2 individuals who are incredible leaders in the genomic medicine space. And what we see is this opportunity to integrate genetic information in all aspects of primary care. And I think one of the big disconnects here is that there's we see personalization in the entire economy, but you don't have that largely in healthcare. You look at your prevention recommendations. We're all told to get a colonoscopy at the same time. We're all told to get mammograms at the same time. But there's a whole opportunity for us to actually start to personalize that. And that is exactly what 23andMe is going to be leading. And we're developing that expertise in genomic medicine that will be applicable to all aspects of healthcare.
That is a compelling case. And it's Deirdre, by the way. I wanted to ask you a broader question in the healthcare space, especially among competition. With Amazon's acquisition or planned announced acquisition of First Medical, what kind of player do you think that they will be in the space? And you guys rely so heavily on Amazon, things like Prime Day, to sell your kits. Do you have any worry that Amazon now knows who's buying your kits, who your customer is, and that they could eventually compete with you?
I'm thrilled to see more individuals getting into healthcare in a serious way. And if you think about it, healthcare is a $4 trillion industry that everyone agrees is relatively dysfunctional. No one raises their hand and says, I love the experience. So if Amazon's coming in and they can provide care in a new way that is going to really be more efficient and better for individuals, that's great. But going back to what I just said, 23andMe is going to be the genomic medicine experts here. So we will be able to partner with all those various groups to say, we can help you really understand how to apply genetic information to those individuals to see whether or not there's an application and whether or not that they can be better managed with their genetic data.
It's really nice to hear from the CEO what she thinks about Amazon's involvement in telehealth or new medicine. I like the fact that she's welcoming Amazon into the space and that she sees it as a positive. I like that in a CEO of a company that I am interested in. And again, not investment advice. I don't even have a position in this company. I just really like what they're doing. We see that the Revenue for 2022 is just under 300 million, and the estimates are for 2023 and 2024 gradually increasing, still below 300 million. We want to see the earnings per share get into the positive, and there is no dividend with this company. That would be sick. Eventually, one day, that'd be really, really cool if it was that big of a company to do that. We see that the institutions own around 37% of this company. Public 10%. Individuals and insiders is interesting, around close to 23%. Public is the rest of the holdings, but I do like to see insiders and individuals hold a good amount of the company that they are either starting or have started. Some of their peers, Hims and Hers is a company I've heard about. But yeah, it was really nice to see and hear from the CEO about that. So let's jump into another interview with the CEO and continue on with the video.
This conference is spectacular. Oh. And I think it's spectacular because of the display of breadth of companies, the creativity, the talent pool. Like, a lot of impressive brain power and a lot of capital has gone into sort of next generation health. And having been 15 years ago, we went to a conference called Health 2.0, and that was almost like this precursor of this conference. And it was a very different story. It was a different story with the talent, the ideas, the opportunities. And so I think it's spectacular here. That said, we're obviously in a market environment where there's parts of me that raises my eyebrows of but who is funding all these companies? There's so many ideas. So I do think that there's this, I look around and think okay, well, when is consolidation happening? When, some of these companies have to get scale. The reality is, if to have a real impact in healthcare, you need to get scale.
Well, scale is something you know a lot about, because I know that's what you've been focused on in the last few years. And you understand that various aspects of healthcare are important. You can't just have sort of a one-man band with just the kids.
Right.
You need more than that. So with the explosion of telehealth, you've also bought into that.
Correct.
You're also working and partnering with GSK in order to develop your own immune therapy. So talk to me about that process and maybe what advice you'd give some of these younger startups right now who are just entering the game.
I think the advice I would give is that people have to start to think about how can you get size and scale. And I think that there's a real opportunity for companies to start to combine. I think it's one thing, in the early days, 23andMe was early in this sort of consumer and the tech world. And it took us a long time to get the kind of scale that we have now. And I think with scale, everything changes. And that's part of the reason why we bought a telehealth company, and part of the reason why we are doing drug discovery now is we look at, there's this incredible opportunity of actually engaging the consumer to actually have a kind of healthcare that they want, that's not about, what's going to reimburse or what's going to actually make the most money and when is there a return on investment of helping you prevent diabetes, just actually what's the best for you. And so that's the whole idea for us on, when we did the Lemonade acquisition, and we are providing telehealth services now, really about what is it that we can do that's genetic based that is going to help you be as healthy as possible. And we can do that now at scale with 13 plus million people who have their genetic information. And that's what we're really looking at, is the size and type of impact that we can have. On drug discovery, there's an incredible opportunity to really change the drug discovery process. And you look at right now, drug discovery is often, small numbers, it's incredibly expensive, it's a high failure rate. And 23andMe has this opportunity to leverage the genetic insights, so all the research that we do, and that if you use genetics for drug discovery, you're twice, 2 to 3 times more likely to be successful. So we look at 23andMe as this ability to really integrate an individual on how they can access, understand, and eventually benefit from the human genome. And it's about getting access to your genetic information, understanding it, working with the healthcare world to actually get the most out of it, and then eventually benefiting by being healthy longer, as well as potentially having therapies that are going to be personalized and tailored to you that have a genetic foundation.
Well, talk to me about that, because it's interesting that you are focusing on that scale, because in order for you to be able to achieve that, don't you kind of rely on the segmentation and on the competition that's out there right now?
What do you mean?
So in order to acquire Lemonade and work with them and also to partner with GSK, there have to be that many players in order for you to partner with and work with. And that relies on the various players that are out there in order for you to be able to do what you do versus having to deal with one of the bigger monopolies.
Yeah, part of it is like, I look at like right now, there's no, if I understand the question correctly, like there's no single dominant player in telehealth. And I think that's where, like from a customer perspective, we have 13 million people who have their genetic information, who are eager to do more. We could have partnered with a smattering of different telehealth providers, but we decided there's this opportunity for us to actually really acquire and train those healthcare providers on genetic information and then to scale that.
All right, y'all. So I just opened up the 23andMe chart on my trading view, and I just did a Fibonacci retracement. So I went from the swing high point and then a drag my cursor down to the swing low. I mean, the swing low is going to be down here, but I'm just bringing it all the way out since I'm pretty much found a little bit of a floor around 273. The mid to high $2 range is what I'm seeing here. So let me just get out of here, and then okay. So this is what I'm looking at, right? And anytime that I see that there's all these levels now of it having to climb back up to even get into if you can see it, it's the 659 retracement level. But even for it to get above $6, it has to fight so many levels of resistance. And I just thought that it would be clever to see, let's just do a hypothetical. Sorry. No, where is it? Dude, where's the paintbrush? Where's this guy's paintbrush at? Trend lines. Where's this guy's? Yeah, I already have the photo. Oh, brush. Here we go. So right, it's it's at $3.48 as of Sunday, December 4th. So tomorrow, whatever happens, happens. It can take off or it can drop back down low again but either way, I'm settling around this $3 to $4 range that if it continues to build stair-stepping patterns of ascension and it moves that direction, then I'm going to be pretty enthused about this level. I'm going to really zoom in on this level. It's going to really be hard to figure out, but you'll see where the price is at here. Let me just get back into the brush. And if it fights levels of resistance all up in here, $4 for sure, I can see it. But if it turns 4 into a level of support, and it might dip back down low again and hover, but if it finds support around 4, I'd be very interested to see that it stays in this channel up into the $6 range, right? And it just continues to battle and so forth and so on until you get some good news. I mean, drug discovery, telehealth. I mean, it's a pretty cool, it's got a lot of, perhaps behind the scenes things working for it, but it still needs to come to fruition. The 13 plus million people that you hear about that have the product as of now, we need to see that drastically improve over the future. So I just thought that I would share a really, really, I like the charts. I really think that it offers some opportunity. I'm going to pay attention to that. I may or may not open a position this year. I might just wait until things get even worse, that's all you hear. But I just thought I would share that with you and take a look at that high range, and the $6 range is definitely where the price, at least for the stock price, if it goes above that $6 mark, who knows where it can take off from there. But from now, you're having to really pay attention to this $4 high level, $4 of resistance, which I can definitely see knocking down the price for a while. All right, well, that's the chart. All right, I'm going to leave it here. Thank you for your time. I really do appreciate it. please like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell. I greatly appreciate it. It allows people to find my channel, and it allows me to keep making these videos. So if there's another company, ETF, cryptocurrency, IPO that you would like for me to research, just drop it into the comment section. I'll do my best to get to it as soon as possible. But until the next time, y'all take care. Have a great week. Adios.